could possibly be my area of expertise, my niche, so to speak, inside of Alchemy, is showing people how many different applications there are, and not just being able to show that, but actually providing an organized structure for people to begin to alter their lifestyles. So, in addition to the education that I've been offering, teaching people how to integrate this into their lives on a practical daily basis, let me just put it like this. The basic theory of alchemical transformation can be applied just on a regular level to get people through stresses in their day, to get people out of financial ruts, to begin to apply the same principles of transformation to their money, to their paycheck, to their way of thinking, to their way of life, to the soil ecology, to the way that they run their governments, to all of those things. They can apply the exact same rules. Now, I've created a couple of fun movements like Alchemical, which teaches people how to do this from the ground up. The very first thing that we do with Alchemical is we teach people about soil ecology and how to take pre-existing lawns or just, tons of weeds, and how to turn it into compost, and how to compost it under cardboard and shutting out light, putting good healthy topsoil that's been composted over the top, and inserting healthy mycelium, mycorrhizal fungi, into the soil, and beginning to introduce archaea to take soil toxins, just nitrogen and pollutants, and begin to break down the soil, and how to add wood chips and natural organic compost and mulch over the top. Wood chips are especially great for desert areas because there are some trees that are very voracious with a little water, and you can hold tons and tons and tons of moisture in. The deeper your wood chips are, the less you have to water. At any rate, there are so many different ways that you can begin to introduce all of the tenets and all of the principles of alchemy written about in the Emerald Tablet. You can begin to see that all of these principles can be demonstrated even in the soil. And when you get your entire garden, and this usually happens with the fungal growth, the fungus, the mycelium in the soil spreads through, and it takes with it an intelligence with all of these roots. It binds all of the roots together, and they respond to drought better, and they respond to everything, and they do it as one ecological unit, in the same way that all of the cells in your body are working together to create one ecological unit. And you begin to see that as all of these separate things, from all of these aspects of disparity, come unity, from many come one, then you have the opportunity to really intrinsically begin to apply this into your life. Now, in our methods, we go so far beyond biodynamic gardening. We begin to explore astrological gardening according to alchemical cycles or spagyric cycles, which take into account the astral effects of the planets and the electromagnetic fluctuations that are happening between planetary rotations and the Earth's magnetic field, and how that affects you or any being as an electromagnetic or an electrochemical creature. That's really what astrology is trying to do. And so we maximize those astral influences by planting and harvesting and working with the materials on those aspects. And that makes a huge difference. There are people who don't understand those sciences, but Dr. Richard Gerber, 15, 20, 25 years ago, who's a medical doctor who looked into vibrational medicine, and even wrote a book called Vibrational Medicine by Richard Gerber, MD. He shows how all of these things do have a difference, and how electromagnetic and electrochemical fluctuations definitely make a difference in the potency and materials of not only herbs, but even in subtle energetic frequencies that may or may not necessarily be commonly understood through traditional allopathic medicine gateways today. Still, what we have the opportunity to do now is you have this rich, beyond organic, beyond biodynamic, beyond permaculture even, because we set it up food forests, heavy seeding, annuals and biannuals, and tons of perennials, very heavy perennial plants, tons of fruit trees, lots of medicinal herbs. We try and provide as much food as possible. And now you have all of this fresh food, and the modern person doesn't know what to do with it. So we provide education into healthy meal preparation, how to create raw food meals, how to stay healthy, how to create just healthy, balanced meals, growing your own foods, and just the most healthy, most nutritious foods that you can possibly imagine. And then not only how to do that, but then you have all these herbs, and some of them are culinary, some of them are medicinal. How are you going to process that? You need to turn some of them into lotions and some of them into this. And of course, my area of expertise, we use it for spagyric medicine. And we teach now people how to create their own remedies right at home that had great success in the past. I mean, treating things like syphilis and leprosy and cancers and things like that, and that have been well documented for several hundred years, as opposed to some of the research of allopathic medicine and homeopathy and other things that work kind of with marginal success, or work in one area but don't necessarily work in another, or inhibit function in another. So basically, now we create people who need to be educated, who can return to the earth, who begin living on a resource basis, because, I mean, let me ask, if you have food, and you have clean water, and you have clean air, and you have good remedies, and access to healthy things to keep you healthy, or even to maybe remedy things when you're not, to bring you back into balance, and if you have raw building materials through renewable sources, what more do you need? At least for your survival. And now when those resources are provided, not through a large, hard-to-handle economic system that's very bureaucratic and very corporate and very hard to work with, because it disassociates itself so much from the people. Now you have a grassroots foundation saying, we know how to provide for ourselves, and we're going to do this. And then you take the principles of alchemy on a psychological level, and you begin to implement those to transform people and the pains that we undergo in our lives, and the way that we interact with one another, the way that we think about community, the way that we think about other people. We can begin to drastically change that. We can begin to drastically influence huge transitions in disparity consciousness and abundance consciousness, if you want to refer to it like that, or between the lowest class system and the highest class system. These people are working hard because they found motivation, because they have a desire. These people are perpetuating behaviors that are not disciplined, and so they keep engaging in failure. These people keep engaging in success, but there is a way to reach out. There's always a middle ground, and this belongs to the middle class. The middle class is that ground, and if the middle class can step up and say, we can provide for ourselves, we don't need this class, and we will help this class, and we will give anything we have to this class too. We don't care, because we can produce more than enough. Then it creates a big sociological transformation as well. So when we say, what can alchemy do in the modern world for people, I'm talking from the ground up, every aspect you can think of. It can transform the soil ecology and the damage that we've done to the earth. It can transform all of the bacteria, all of the plant growth. It can perhaps even reverse a lot of the damage that we've currently done. It can help you transform your body into what the peak potential that you know has always been possible, but that has always seemed so out of sight. It can give you the opportunity to transform your psychology and to begin to apply psychological pains to this process, transforming those into things that you no longer hold bitterness against, and that you understand that there's such a growing process, such a development of your character because of that, that you can polish that up now instead of being holding resentment against it. You can begin to apply this to your psychic faculties by beginning to intrinsically connect with the world around you and with other human beings by actually connecting with them, right? What a concept. If you connect with them, it's just like if I talk to anybody for any length of time, hang out with them for a week or a month, you begin to pick up on gestures, you know what's coming next. That is psychic. That is the kind of interaction that you need. It takes familiarity, not just sitting around and meditating, actual interaction. And then spiritual discipline. You can begin to take everything that you do, no matter what your religion is, and you can begin to do it with a fervor, a spiritual conviction from here. The rest of the world doesn't matter. Your religion has nothing to do with the rest of the world. It's the way that you feel, the way that you relate to that spiritual thing, and what are the disciplines that you do to embody what you feel in your religion, your faith system, your ideology.